And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is February 1st, Wednesday. Didn't realize that it was February 1st. That's exciting. Welcome to February, everybody. I am Josh Engleman here to break down a 9-game NBA slate coming off of yesterday's really gross 5-gamer that did not go well for me at all. Did go well on Prize Picks. Tweeted out those results. Hit a 5 out of 5 yesterday. So anytime you're able to do that, you're going to feel pretty good. If you are here, and there are 50 of you here right now, hit that like button if you can. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. And follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Good to see everybody here this morning. Yeah, Patrick Williams one was sweat-inducing last night. You know what wasn't? Having LaMelo Ball. That one went quite well for anybody that had him. Shout out to Greg for pushing LaMelo Ball last night on Live Before Lock. I only had 11%, not enough. He was grading out as a guy that was probably a little bit under-owned in that range. Just wasn't able to get any more. Too much RJ Barrett. Woof. And then ultimately, Jokic hanging another 70 burger. Up to averaging a triple-double right now. I just tweeted that out before we started. Nikola Jokic averaging 20-something, 11 and 10 on 70% true shooting. Absolute insanity for Jokic. Really curious to see if he's going to get that third MVP. It'll be fun to see down the stretch. Anyway, we got 9 games going off tonight. Lots to talk about. I am not on the strategy show for today. I am on the deeper dive, so that'll be myself and Adam later tonight. Probably not going to play this slate. Feels like an easy day to just get away from it. Don't really want to do the 9 games worth of work for post lock, but we'll see. Maybe I'll certainly have some Prize Picks cards out there. Don't know if I'm going to play on DK for today. And then, did I have Martin? I forgot to look because obviously he went crazy. I thought I had a little bit. Let me double check it. Let's see. If I did, I had like 8% or something. That's the way that I'm remembering it, at least. Where is my name? Where is value? Yeah, I had 7% Martin. I mean, Herb Jones was the dude you really wanted to get to. 42 fantasy points, 10x. I had Hartenstein at 19%. That actually worked out pretty well for me. I just didn't have the pay-ups correct. Not enough LaMelo, for sure. Didn't have Jokic, really. Didn't matter after that. Alrighty, let's get into this bad boy because we've got 9 games. We're going to have a lot to talk about. So, coffee's here. Hope you guys have one as well. If you don't, we'll go get one. Hurry up. It'd be great. But if you got a coffee, your tea, your water, whatever you've got for this morning, I'm excited to start drinking this. Didn't sleep great last night. It happened quickly. Never got into that deep sleep. I blame my dog, even though I love that guy. So shout out to Riggs and good morning to you guys. Rise and grind, everybody. Cheers. All right, let's hit this super chat quickly. Julio, morning, Josh. What do you do to get different lineup construction? If you have 20 to 30% of someone, what does your process do to ensure they don't end up in similar lineups as the field? I'll have upwards of 80% of somebody. I had 80% of Jalen Brunson yesterday. You're just looking to make sure that you are getting a lower owned player or players elsewhere. Think about it like this. You can build the perfect way to describe it would be the way that will be based on the crunches that I run at the end of the show. So let's say I run an optimal lineup crunch, and then I say that the second most optimal lineup is at, the most optimal lineup is projected for 300. The second one is at 299.95. Well, one of those lineups is very chalky It's got a lot of heavily owned guys on it. And then the 299.95 lineup, let's say, has like two different guys in it that are relatively low owned, more off the beaten path guys. What I want to do if I'm in a large field contest is I want to play the 299.95 lineup. I want to play the one that is projecting for slightly less because I'm getting basically the exact same projection at a lower ownership number. And that's sort of the balance that you're looking for, at least for large field GPPs. You want as much projection as you can get relative to where the peak of projection is, while also sort of giving up, I don't want to say as much ownership as you can because you don't need to give up that much. But in theory, if you've got two lineups projected for the same thing, you don't really care. You want the lower owned lineup in the larger field contest. Brunson was fine yesterday. I think he went for, I think he was like right at 6x. It wasn't exactly what you were looking for, but let me double check it. He went for 6.6. So, you got at 7,900 for yesterday's slate, Jalen Brunson was an unequivocal success. So I don't know what Joel's saying. Brunson was fantastic. He went for 52.5 fantasy points as the chalk. You certainly had to have him on yesterday's slate to have anything good. If you had a top 1% lineup yesterday, Jalen Brunson was in 73% of those lineups. Herb Jones was close to essential if you really wanted to get to the top. LaMelo and Jalen Brunson were the three guys over 30%. Pat Connaughton was 4. Larry Nance, 5. Quentin Grimes, my boy, 6th. All right, now we can get into it. Shout out to BetMGM, by the way. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But you guys can see new banner. First bet insurance up to $1,000 and 1 month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. All right, here we go. Let's do this now. Boop and boop. First game up. Washington Wizards, 5.5 point favorites in Detroit, 236 total. Man, this Pistons team is really atrocious. I'm taking another sip of coffee. Okay, what else do we got here? We're going to go Wizards have a Q tag on Daniel Gafford, who we did not get on Monday. Got to assume he's back for today. So let's pop that in there. 25 minutes. I take away the minutes that I gave to Taj and Will Barton, the exact same pivot that I made on Monday. I don't have any changes that I really want to make here. We kind of know what these guys do. I got Porzingis in for 32. Beal plays his standard minutes. I was about to be like, oh, Rui got a DNP. Not on the team anymore. DeLon Wright and Monty Morris continue to just split the point guard run, which is good to see. Although they didn't when Porzingis was out. We're getting like 18-ish minutes out of Kendrick Nunn. I don't have anything else to change here. This looks good to me. Same rates. So Washington, just like normal, just like their Monday rotation. Detroit, I'm sure they're complicating matters somehow. Hamidou Diallo is probable. Otherwise, everybody else is normal. I'm going to give Hamidou Diallo back the 22 minutes that I had given him on Monday before he was ruled out. I have 28 minutes in for Burks. I think that's fine. 33 for Boyan. Jaden Ivey played a little bit less. Killian Hayes played a little bit more. Interesting to see that dynamic. Guess I'll take a minute away from Ivy, give another minute to Killian Hayes. I got Duran in for 26. That feels about right. Beef Stew is just going to be they didn't play alongside each other once again. So it looks like we're just getting in that straight center split between Duran and Stewart. So I'm going to go like 26-22 for Duren. After that, the rest of this sort of projects itself. Bay for 31. Livers for 24. And that low, yeah, this all looks good to me. I don't really see a spot where I would want to make a change. I don't expect Kevin Knox to play today if everybody is in. So that's game number 1 in the books already. Actually, I got to make one change. There we go. All right, so game number 1, we have, I can make that bigger for sure. I don't mind going to Bojan, Bay, or Burks. I think they're just going to look like totally average plays by the time we get to the end of this show. I don't think that any one of them is going to be some sort of like incredible must-have priority. But Bojan, Bay, and Burks would be the 3 guys you get to first, I think. And then on the Wizards, Daniel Gafford is probably the only guy that I would consider to be very playable. And even then, a $4,800 center. There's certainly a ceiling for Daniel Gafford. You're looking for $33 fantasy points or something like that. I don't know how you want to go to Kuzma or Porzingis. Obviously, there's a, the visual appeal of Bradley Beal at 7,300 is there. I just don't think he's going to look all that great other than as a GPP pivot. First game is really underwhelming. I actually thought it was going to look a little bit better for Washington. It does not. Portland, 5.5-point underdogs in Memphis, 229 total. What are we getting out of this Portland team? Portland got Hart and Nurkic back on Monday. We have probable tags on both of those guys. So this is full strength Portland. This should actually end up being pretty easy to handle. 36 for Dame. I'm going to make that 37. 35 for Simons. 35 for Grant. I got Josh Hart in for 30 right now. I'm going to say that's probably correct. I'm going to bump it up to 31. Got Nurk for 27, Drew Eubanks for 20. That seems fine to me. Could make a case that that works. 27-20 is fine. I got 18 for Nas Little, 18 for Shaden Sharp, 18 for Gary Payton. We got a little bit more out of Sharp, a little bit less out of Payton and Little, but I don't necessarily trust that to just be consistent. I don't know where else those minutes would actually go at this point, because it's not like anybody else is playing. So unless you want to give Josh Hart more minutes, I'm going to get Shaden Sharp up to 19. It's not going to matter because he is not a very good per minute guy. 0.65 in my model is not ideal. There's definitely some potential for additional minutes for Josh Hart. I could take those from Nas Little pretty easily. I can go to 32 on Hart if I needed to. But even in that stretch up to Hart getting hurt and then missing a game, he wasn't playing big minutes like Lillard, Simons, and Grant. So that's the Portland side. I mean, very easy to talk about once again. On the Memphis end, Q-tag on Desmond Bane, Q-tag on Danny Green, Q-tag on John Conchar. Do I have Danny Green even on Memphis yet? I'm sure I do. Oh, I actually don't. Do I have Danny Green on a team? Let's get that added in. Get Danny Green in. So we have to assume everybody is in. And that means that we don't have Bane in right now, which means I got to delete this entire rotation. So we'll start it off. And this is generally easy to project, but we are going to have to pull new rates. I'm going 36 minutes. Actually, I'm going 35 minutes to Morant. I think we only saw the true bump up because of no Bane. Danny Green finds his way onto a contending team every year because the contending teams know who the best players are to have in contention, and that is Danny Green. Danny Green carries a winning skill set, so that's why you see Danny Green playing for those kind of teams. You could also add someone like PJ Tucker to that list. Guys that might not be good to everybody else, but are really good basketball players when you play for a really good team. Alrighty, Brandon, let's just work our way through. Desmond Bane, we got to assume that he is in and playing 32 minutes. Dylan Brooks, 30 minutes. Aaron Jackson Jr. in for his 28. Actually got up to 29. We're going to stick with 28. That guy doesn't really deviate. Brandon Clark, Tillman. So they went to multiple minutes of Jaren Jackson at the 5, I believe, on Monday. Let's see. So Clark came off. Tillman played the rest of the first quarter. Tillman also played the rest of the beginning of the second quarter. But they barely went to Clark because he had 3 fouls. So they went to Jaren Jackson. Well, they didn't maintain Clark. They allowed for Jaren Jackson to close out the second quarter because Clark was in foul trouble. They didn't go to Tillman. They left Aldama alongside Jackson. Then Brandon Clark immediately picked up another foul in the third quarter. You got the long Tillman run. They didn't have a choice. They went to Jaren Jackson again. So I'm going to continue with the maintaining that like they're going to get 2 minutes out of Jackson at the 5. That we would continue to get, I'm going to say 27 minutes out of Brandon Clark and then 19 out of Tillman. Which will then let me get 22 minutes out of Santi Aldama. Although Aldama played quite a bit less than that. Only played 15. Had the opportunity to, because if we can't get Aldama playing more with foul trouble, then he's probably just not going to play more. So I'm actually going to give Aldama 18. Ross, it's always playing at low volume in the background so that when I stop talking, it's not just dead silence. Hold'em King. Do you always hold a player back for the last game? 9 out of 10 last game of the night is optimal in my opinion. No, I don't. I never think about it at all unless there's like a very specific injury thing to worry about. The thought process of someone being in the optimal from the last game is you're looking at everything the wrong way. The chances of being in an optimal for any game whatsoever is essentially equal. If we want to get technical, there's a little bit of additional value as you move further down the line. If you're ultra into paying attention to your lineup and making moves to have value that could potentially open up, there's a slight sliver. It is incremental at best. Certainly not anything big that anybody should really be paying attention to. If you're on a 5-game slate, there's going to be someone in the optimal lineup in the last game essentially by default. It's just a math problem. There are 8 optimal lineup spots. There are 5 games. You're expecting to have at least one from every game. Let's finish off this Memphis rotation. We got Tyus Jones in for the backup point guard run. Tyus Jones ended up playing 29 minutes. Now, I don't totally expect that to happen. I figure we get like 18 out of Tyus Jones. Final 33 minutes, though, that's where this gets kind of tricky. Because it seems like Zaire Williams is a very key part of the rotation, at which point we need to think about who's going to stop playing for the Grizzlies. On a day like today, it's not going to matter. But if they're getting Conchar back, I think John Conchar and Zaire Williams are the two guys that are going to play the final 33 minutes here. We also need to get Danny Green on the floor in some way, and I don't know where those minutes come from. I really, really don't. Because I assume Conchar is going right back into the role that he had before. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to go... Oh, man, this is... I don't know why I care so much about this right now. Let's get... I'm going to take a little bit more playing time away from Tyus Jones. That gives me 35 minutes. I can see Aldama losing a little bit of time, but maybe we're not at a position to do that right now. I'm going to go 14 minutes to Zaire Williams. I'm going to go 10 minutes to Danny Green and 11 to John Conchar. I don't trust it, but if anybody's going to run an 11-man rotation, it's probably the stupid Grizzlies. And we're not playing any of those guys anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I do need to grab the new rates for Memphis, though, with Bane on the floor. So in games where Brooks, Morant, Bane, and Jackson all played, they've only played 12 games together, which is hilarious to think about. And it's a small number even if you include last year. But all those guys that I was just talking about aren't all that relevant. So we get Brandon Clark in for 18% usage. We get Desmond Bane in for 24/7. Dylan Brooks in for 19. Morant in for 33.5. And then Jaren Jackson in for 22. What's up, Crispy? Don't really think I'm going to have any other major changes to make here. If Brooks gets an assist rate cut, Desmond Bane can stay the same. Rebounding, I guess, is going to be at least a little interesting. But I think we're good here. I think we're good here. So that's going to be Memphis. Game 2. It's really like if Bane is back, it's 10-4 for Ja, and then I'm probably not all that interested in anybody else. Hard to justify the salaries of Bane or Jackson or Clark. Dylan Brooks, basically impossible to go to today. I like Ja, though. For Portland, any one of the starters. Simons probably looks the best, but that's incremental. Josh Hart probably has the most value at 5,100, just easier to get to. Any one of those 5 starters would be fine. I do prefer Ja to Dame, though, in the same matchup. So that's 2. 2 down. Top of the hour. 123 viewers. 50 likes. We're close to that 50-50 split, so hit that thumbs up. Orlando Magic, 8.5-point dogs in Philly, 231 total. We can just see this. Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable for this one. I am assuming that we get the same Orlando rotation that we got last time. I don't really have a reason to suspect it should be something else. They did play a little bit less of Bol. Wendell Carter Jr. played 20 minutes, I assume because of that potential injury. You got 21-8 out of Mo Wagner. I don't think I'm going to be moving anybody around here. 32 for Paolo, 32 for Franz. I got Fultz for 30. I don't love that, but I think he's more of a 29 guy. No reason to not do it. Yeah, this is just going to be the same rotation we had. Maybe I shouldn't have Cole Anthony at 26. I'm going to take him down to 24. Take Suggs up to 19. And then I'll leave that spillover minute. We actually got Bamba. Was that a full split? Yeah, so Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Wagner, and Bamba we got Bamba out there for 5.5 minutes to play a little bit at the 5, which means that we didn't get time for John Isaac at the 5. Good to know. I'm going to go up to 18 on Mo Wagner. Not going to matter. All the rates are going to stay the same here for Orlando. We'll go to Philly. I assume there's a Q tag on Joel Embiid. There is. Philly is going to be the same situation. I assume I'm just going to the exact same rotation. I assume Joel Embiid's going to play. Got him in for 34 minutes. Got Harden in for 35. Maxey at 31. 32 for Tobias Harris. I don't really see anything that I can make a change here for. PJ Tucker played a little bit more these past 2 games. Maybe I give him a little bit of a bump ski. Take those minutes from who? Not Trez. Not Niang. Thibault can give up 2. Gets Tucker to 22. I'll take Melton to 27. That gets Tucker to 23. None of that's going to matter for PJ Tucker, but that's Philly. I mean, the Orlando rotation and Philly rotation are normal. Clearly, you can play Joel Embiid at 11-2. I think he looks good. There will be a lot of centers on a 9-game slate. Embiid will absolutely look like one of the better ones. If you get to 65 out of Embiid, you're going to be happy. And then Jacob, he's already recharged, so to speak, and went crazy again on Monday against this exact same Orlando team. Outside of Embiid, though, I don't really have a ton of interest in this Sixers team. And then on the Orlando side, if we get no Mo Wagner, or if we get no Wendell Carter Jr., then $3,900 Mo Wagner is going to become a very, very popular piece for today. And then I'm guessing you could actually unlock a little bit of Mo Bamba. I don't know the salary. I assume it's low. There's not a lot to write home about here on the DraftKings side for Orlando. This has been a pretty mediocre first 3 games. Like, we haven't had anybody where it was like, well, that's the guy you got to have today. All right, top of the hour, 6:59. Are we at the 50% mark? More or less. Make sure you're hitting that like button, folks. It helps out a ton. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. I gave away the goods for prize picks yesterday. We hit a 5 of 5. That's 10x your entry fee. We hit a 4 out of 5, which is some multiplier that I can't remember off the top of my head. And then we actually went 3-1-1. Michael Porter Jr. hit the rebounding mark on the dot. So that actually paid out well. Only one came out as a loser. But when you hit a 10x, that's what you got to do, folks. Get them 10xers on prize picks. And I'm going to be doing a prize picks video coming up soon. Here, I'll even show you guys. Sneak peek. I'm going to be doing a prize picks video. This is not fully ready, but we've already got this set up to show prize picks lines. So if we wanted to say Joel Embiid, prize picks lines are going to show up here. I've got my projections, and I'll highlight the ones that I like the most. And then we're going to put together, on the video, we'll put together one 5-man card with the props that we get out of the video. So I'll highlight 5 different players. We'll take the best prop that I've got for each one of them that's available at the time of recording. But if you guys are into prize picks, that content is coming up for me shortly. All righty. Let's get back to it. Brooklyn Nets, 8.5-point dogs in Boston, 226 total for Brooklyn. No Ben Simmons, no Durant, no TJ Warren, Watanabe in. So we are getting the same Brooklyn rotation that we've seen for the past 2 games, which is actually helpful. Now I'm going to delete everybody that isn't a clean part of the rotation to start. I got Kyrie in for his 38. I've got Seth Curry in for his 31. I'm going to make that 30. I've got Joe Harris in for 30. That did not work out the way that I wanted it to on Monday, unfortunately. So I'm going to give him a haircut. We're going to get Joe Harris down to 24 minutes. Although with Ben Simmons and TJ Warren out, I'm going to go to 25. You got Royce O'Neal in for 35. I guess that is also probably unappealing. We'll go down to 34. Nick Claxton can stay in at 34, though. I'm not like I know why these minutes are mildly limited. Seems like Patty Mills is just back in the rotation, so there's 10 minutes for Mills at a minimum. Let's look at when did the blowout run start? Brooklyn. Okay, so there really wasn't a ton of it. Cam Thomas, I mean, the closeout run is not happening. But Cam Thomas legit played. Patty Mills, I think, is legit for like 16 minutes. Claxton, foul trouble? One foul, none. Now just weird rotation. I mean, Claxton had been playing. I'm leaving him in there for 33 minutes. That's for sure. And then we're getting Day'Ron Sharpe essentially as the straight backup to Claxton. So I'm going to give Day'Ron Sharpe those 15 minutes. I guess technically Royce O'Neal would be at the 4, but we also got to give Watanabe those minutes. I don't really have anything else to change there for Watanabe. We're going to leave him in for 20. Fine with the Seth Curry minutes. I'm fine with the Joe Harris minutes. So we need to give Edmund Sumner at least one rotation. Feels like he can go in for, 10 minutes and be okay. Markieff Morris got a rotation. Cam Thomas looked like he was going to play at least 18 minutes. I'm not going to give Markieff Morris that rotation. I don't think that's as necessary. So I'm going to give, although, do I really think Cam Thomas is going to play 19 minutes today? I mean, he probably would have been pretty, we'll go 17, I guess. 2 spillovers to Markieff. I don't have to change rates. That much I know. Those are the rates that are in from Monday. And now we'll go to Boston, who I think should look like normal. Yeah, no Marcus Smart. Q tag on Time Lord. Assuming he is in, this is going to be your standard Boston rotation. 38 for Tatum, 37 for Brown. I can make a case that it should be higher than that. But I won't. Derek White in for 29. I mean, that feels about right. But I'm going to make it 28. Peyton Pritchard getting time. Sam Hauser getting time. Time Lord in for 28 minutes. Small rotation out of Luke Cornett. 30 minutes out of Al Horford. I guess I want to go to 31 on Horford. Seems to just be happening. 28 for Grant Williams. There's no telling how many minutes he's going to play. And then 26 for Brogdon. Brogdon played 30-something minutes over the past 4 times he's been on the floor. I clearly need to get more minutes here to Malcolm Brogdon. This one had no Robert Williams. That one's standard. Those two didn't have Brogdon. This one had no Tatum. This one had everybody. So I want to go to 28 for sure. But I think I got to go to 30. Yeah, I'm going to go to 30. Let's see what that actually looks like here for Boston. Yeah, Brogdon for 6,500, if he's playing 30 minutes, is going to look solid. It's not it's not an overwhelming value, and you need those 30 minutes. But I also don't see a reason to think that he's not going to play them. Now, to be fair, where's this Boston rotation? I want to make sure I'm getting this right. So the only concern for someone like Brogdon is that if this game goes the wrong way, that he doesn't get that final rotation since he's coming off the bench. But for now, it's Brogdon and it's Robert Williams as the two guys that I am most interested in for today. Tatum, Brown, Horford, you can roll the dice as you see fit. For Brooklyn, it's Kyrie at 10-8 and Nick Claxton at 8K. Those would be the guys that I'd say are at least most interesting. As I scout out what we've looked at so far, let me add an X for that one because we're 4 games in. I just don't have a great feel for like what we've looked at this point. So like from a pay up perspective, we've looked at 5 10K guys on DK so far. That's going to be Embiid, Tatum, Irving, Lillard, Morant. I think Embiid, Irving, and Morant all look very similar relative to salary. I think Tatum and Lillard look very similar relative to salary. Like to me, John Morant at 10-4 is the best guy we've looked at if you're paying up. And as you're paying down, I like Brogdon. I like Boyan. I tend to like Alec Burks a little bit. But like it's going to be hard to go to Tatum and Lillard at those prices with what's around them. And that's only through 4 games. We've got 5 more to go, including an Oklahoma City matchup where SGA gets to play the Rockets. Unless his price broke over the past couple days, SGA is probably going to be my preferred pay-up option. 231 total on this game honestly surprises me, but it's probably because Houston stinks and OKC's defense isn't bad. Now, for OKC, we got no Dort, we got no Poku. Jeremiah Robinson Earl is with the G League team. I don't know if that's a permanent thing. He might. It wouldn't surprise me if JRE could be available for today, but we shall see. For right now, I'm going 35 to Shea. We got Wiggins starting the first half on Monday. Didn't start the second half. Kenrich Williams just got the overall start. So we got to think about that as well. I'm going to go 35 and 13 for Shea. For Shea and Trey Mann. And then, 17 for Jalen Williams with a Y, 14 for Muscala. I need to get 2 extra minutes to Kenrich Williams. I am going to take Aaron Wiggins down to 26 to give him those minutes. 31 for Giddey. Might be a tad high. 32 for Jalen Williams without the Y is fine. We did get an extra minute. I'm going to take that minute from Giddey and give it to Joe. And I think I'm just going to let it rip like that. And we'll see what we get out of OKC. But I assume that I really like SGA because I normally do. Now for Houston, this is where things are going to get really weird because we've got no KPJ, which we know. And now we've also got no Jalen Green. That is going to be a very interesting situation. So we can start at center where we don't really have any questions. We know that we're going to get a ton of Şengün. I assume he's going to look good even at whatever crazy price tag he has. But we're going to start there. That's the easiest spot to project. We give Şengün the minutes. We give Bruno Fernando minutes. And we go about our day. I assume... What did we get as a starting lineup on Saturday with those guys, with Jalen Green out? I assume that was Knicks. Starting lineup we got when they won was Knicks, Gordon, Martin, Eason, Jabari Smith. That was without Şengün. Obviously, I think it's pretty clear to see that we're going to remove Tari Eason from that starting lineup to get Şengün back out there. So let's get Jabari Smith in for 28 minutes, I think. At which point we give Tari Eason the backup run. That is a pretty standard split for these guys. We get Daishin Nix starting. He played a completely normal rotation in that matchup against the Pistons. They did stagger him and then not go to him in the second unit to close out the second quarter. They were on a bit of a run in that second quarter without him. But I don't think we need to go too crazy there. I'm thinking they probably wanted him to go back out there. 27 minutes for Nix. His direct backup was basically Josh Christopher. I'm going to go Christopher to, 19 minutes here. Although he didn't get to that. Christopher not playing again at the beginning of the fourth quarter is interesting, but I guess they just were ready to go to Nix once it got close again. So maybe we'll go 17 to Christopher. Eric Gordon seems pretty good to just give him 31 minutes. Kenyon Martin seems pretty good to just give him 30. Say 29. All right. So now we need to get Jayshawn Tate out there. Tate came off the bench, just played scattered rotations. Seems like saying 19 minutes for Jayshawn Tate makes the most sense. Garrison Matthews would be the next guy that we need to get minutes for. Matthews plays about 16 minutes a game. I think that we could just lot him in there. That leaves us 5 extra minutes. In theory, they can go anywhere. I'm just going to throw them on the Ty Washington, but I'm okay with this rotation. Now, rates are going to change. And I don't know how much playing time they've had with KPJ off and Jalen Green off. But this is going to actually be a very, very, very interesting set of rates. If I take KPJ off and I take KPJ off and Jalen Green off, and I'm going to say that Alperen Şengün at least played in the game, because that will be important. Actually, is Tice back? Wrong team? Oh, yeah, he's on the Pacers. Never mind. Okay, so we got a decent chunk of time here. Şengün hasn't played nearly as much time as you would expect with both of those guys off, but let's work our way through it. In 184 minutes with no Green, no KPJ, Alperen Şengün has a 24% usage rate, 23.8% usage rate. Let's get that in there now. Eric Gordon, 328 minutes, 26.9% usage rate for Eric Gordon when those guys are off. Big time bump. We'll see what that ends up looking like. Jabari Smith has only played 124 minutes with those guys off. He's at a 25% usage rate. I'm going to give him that bump too. And then Kenyon Martin Jr., 18 and a half. He's basically just himself like normal. None of these other guys are like usage hogs. I guess Josh Christopher is a guy that I should give a chunk of usage. He tends to soak it up a little bit. So does Tari Eason. So I'm going to get Josh Christopher and Tari Eason in for what I believe they should have. So we're going to get Eason into 21. Eason, by the way, got snubbed in that rookie game. We'll get Josh Christopher in for like 23 as well. That should bring down everybody else to the ranges that I think they should be in. Like Knicks is at 13 and a half. That makes it work out. Now, assist rates. We're not too worried about Tari Eason there. Kenyon Martin's not going to be that guy. Josh Christopher is just not as important. Ian, glad you got that. Jabari Smith gets some assists. I guess that makes sense. Eric Gordon with a massive assist rate bump. No surprise there. And then Şengün also with a really sizable assist rate bump. We close that out. Rebounding rates. This probably doesn't matter as much. I'll give a slight bump to Şengün. Eric Gordon certainly not pulling down more boards. Jabari Smith might. Not really. Don't want to think that he's a different rebounder, though. There's no way those guys matter as much. Kmart's fine, too. So that's Houston. So for the Rockets, look, 8,800 for Şengün is still exceptional. Like, I like him better than getting to Joel Embiid, for instance. And then Eric Gordon, 5,300. Kind of a bummer that he's as highly priced as he is, but he's just a different guy today. I got him at 0.93 fantasy points per minute. And then Jabari Smith, 5,600. He would be my third option. I think Kmart's already appropriately priced, and I don't think Daishin Nix is good enough to matter. So, you know, there's that. That's Houston. Thought it would look a little bit better. As we look at OKC, yeah, it's SGA. 10,200, just looking really, really good. Jalen Williams without the Y, 5,300 would be my second option. Not all that enamored in anything else. If you get Kenrich Williams starting, you can feel a little bit better about going there. Just not a priority. All righty. More than halfway done. We'll get out of here at like 7:45. 162 viewers, 68 likes. We're making some progress. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done it already. Golden State Warriors, 3-point favorites in Minnesota. Revenge narrative alert for D'Angelo Russell in this one. Everybody that's normally available for Golden State is available. I will caveat this. This is the front end of a back-to-back. They do play the Denver Nuggets tomorrow. Do not be surprised to see Klay Thompson sit this game out. And potentially somebody else. But for right now, this is the front end of a back-to-back for the Warriors. Again, they play the Nuggets tomorrow. Klay sat the back end of a back-to-back out on Sunday and Monday a week and a half ago. My expectation is that we're going to get Klay Thompson ruled out for today. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play the Nuggets game. I would guess they'd want the Nuggets game to be full strength. And this one would be the spot where they can sit somebody. So very much keep your eyes peeled on this one. I can't take him out now because that's not like he's not on an injury report. I'm going to double check it just to make sure. Yeah, only Iguodala is on it now. I would not at all be surprised to see Klay Thompson be a late add at 1:30. Okay, which means I don't really have much to do here for Golden State's rotation. I think I have everybody projected the way that I would want to have them projected. Save for, I want to get another minute here onto Wiggins. That's going to come from Kuminga. I'm going to get another 2 minutes up on Anthony Lamb. Those are going to come from Kuminga. We didn't get JaMychal Green in the rotation, so I was right on that one. 35 minutes for Steph. I'm actually going to go up to 36. It seems like they're ramping him up. Got Poole in for 32. Another one that can come away from Kuminga. I got 33 for Klay. That I'm going to bump up for right now, only to know that I'm going to hate it in the future. Get him to 34. 26 for DiVincenzo is where I want to be. 21 for Looney is where I want to be. Who starts if Klay sits? Kevon Looney. It'll be Steph, Poole, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney. But I would be absolutely shocked if we got... Look, if we know that Clay is playing today, then you should feel pretty safe that he's not playing against the Nuggets tomorrow. That wouldn't be the way that I would deploy it. Now, against Minnesota, or for Minnesota, rather, Q-tag on Gobert, Q-tag on Prince, no Towns, no McLaughlin. This is going to be the same situation we had going into Monday. Prince played only 13 minutes, however. We did get overtime here. 35 for Russell looks good. 37 for Edwards looks good. McDaniel's minutes look fine. Anderson's minutes look fine. I mean, Gobert continues to just play massive minutes. The day that I go heaviest on him was the day that he played 31, which is funny. I'm going to take him up to 33 now. Naz Reid straight backup. I guess I want to take 2 minutes away from Taurean Prince. I'm going to take 3 minutes away. Get him to 20 minutes. We'll get Noel up to 18. We'll get Austin Rivers to 22. Oh, 21. 21. 21. All right. No rates that need to change here for Minnesota because that's the same rotation that we had. They look incredible. I will once again be aggressively going to Rudy Gobert, 6,800. To me, he's just not priced correctly for what we have here. I want to double check his rebounding rate because I did juice the hell out of that. And I want to see if that's still the case. Even like one extra day of sample is a pretty good chunk of time. So when we say Towns off in games where Gobert starts, let's say Towns did not play. Games where Gobert starts, Russell starts, and Anthony Edwards starts. The rebounding rate for Rudy Gobert is at 14.33. Bring that down to 14. But either way, I love Gobert. I mean, this is a really nice pace spot for Minnesota. I'm very happy to get to Edwards. I'm very happy to get to Russell. I'm more than okay getting to Kyle Anderson. I don't mind getting to Jaden McDaniels. Anything in the starting five for Minnesota, I think looks good to fantastic. For Golden State, I guess Jordan Poole is the best option. If and when Clay gets ruled out, Poole will look a little bit better than that too. I think that the Warriors look just like Minnesota, but slightly worse across the board. Like Steph at 10-3 is going to be a tough sell for me with Ja, Kyrie, SGA. There's just too many point guards. Dame. I don't think Steph is going to separate from the pack there. They just all look like solid-ish plays. All right. That's another one in the books. 3 to go. Sacramento, 7.5-point favorites in San Antonio, 244 total. Crazy total on this one. Crazy total. Not surprised either. Sacramento's at full strength, so we're not going to be changing anything here. We only got 21.5 minutes out of Herter on Monday. Ended up getting 31 out of Monk. That is not going to be. They're not going to be long for that. So the same rotation for Sacramento that we normally have is getting deployed here. I guess I'll take 2 more minutes away from Davion Mitchell and give them to Terrence Davis. Not that it matters, but I guess I could. I mean, I got 35 for Fox. I could make a case it should be 36, although they did go to OT, so Fox played 36. Barnes played 35. That can keep. Murray played 33.5. Yeah, I'm fine with this rotation. I assume they're going to look good against San Antonio, but the prices are already where they need to be. For the Spurs, I really am sick and tired of this team. Q-tag on Romeo Langford, Josh Richardson, probable. I already got Jay Rich in to make Romeo Langford get in here. We got to give him 20 minutes. I think those minutes need to come largely from Keita Bates-Diop, considering that's where the minutes have been coming from prior to this. Stanley Johnson's minutes are still there. I don't really see a natural spot to take them from somebody else. So we're going to call that normal rotation here. In theory, I can go to more of Keldon Johnson, but I think 33 is probably right for him. Yeah, I don't really have any other changes to make. I assume I like Jakob Poeltl like I normally do. Sure do. Got to take a minute away from that guy. Take him down to 24. Soften the blow here. Look, I like Trey Jones at 5,600 because we got to remember, this is a great environment for fantasy points. So I like Trey Jones. I like Jakob Poeltl at 5,500. I like Jeremy Sohan a little bit at 5,200. If you want to go to Keldon Johnson, by all means, he's sort of priced where he should be. Any one of those four guys look good. This is a good game to target. On Sacramento, it's sort of the same story. Barnes, probably the easiest guy to get to. Kevin Huerter, 5,300 shooting guard small forward, to me is a really nice value. 8,200 for Fox. We get Sabonis down to 9,900. That's a bit more palatable. And then Keegan Murray at 51. You just want the starters in this game. They all look solid. 2 to go. 190 people in this piece. Love to see it. Toronto Raptors are 3-point dogs in Utah. 230 total. Raptors have no Anunoby, which means we're getting the same rotation that we've had for the past 2.5 games. We get big minutes out of Precious. We get 38 out of Siakam. We get 37 out of Barnes. We get 38 out of Van Vliet. We get 37 out of Gary Trent. Boucher got up to 24, which I find interesting. I'm going to get him up to 21 at least. To make a case, it should be 22, but I think 21 works. 21. I could do that all day. Toronto is obviously easy to project. We all know what that looks like now. Utah, they get confusing at the bottom end, but not on the guys that matter. So I got Conley in for 30 minutes. I think that's fine. Sexton in for 24 is probably a hair too high. I'll take one away there. I got Clarkson in for 33. Probably a hair too high there as well. I'm going to take him down to 32. 29 for Malik Beasley. That feels fine. 34 for Markkanen is good. I got a 27-21 split on Kessler and Vanderbilt. They are still essentially splitting minutes. I'm going to go 26-22 on those guys. And then it's just simple. Rudy Gay backup, THT or Akbaji or... Oh, we got Kelly Olynyk back on Saturday. That is a real change that I was not aware of. So I'm going to gut all of these extra dudes. That is a complicating factor. So if we say Markkanen, Kessler, Vanderbilt, Olynyk. All right. I guess we're going to get more Markkanen at the 3. Because we need to get Kelly Olynyk. Let's see. That rotation was from Saturday. Utah. I didn't realize he was back. How did he play? Okay, so he started. They started Markkanen at the 3. Why did he play the way that he did then? 1 foul, no fouls, 1 foul. Had to be limited. Just played 5-minute stints. I'm going to say that he gets 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get Kelly Olynyk. Don't know how I did that. 20 minutes here for Olynyk. Vanderbilt and Kessler were just literal backups for each other. I'm going to say Olynyk can play one of those minutes. That'll give me 14 for Rudy Gay. Do I want to do that? 21 to Vanderbilt? Yeah, I think I have to. 14 for Rudy Gay, 11 for Akbaji, and we walk away from Utah. I don't really think any rates have to change for right now, but it is good to see Kelly Olynyk be back. I assume we're getting Conley, Clarkson, Markkanen, Olynyk, Kessler. So that's Utah. And as I look at Utah, they just look flat. Markkanen, Clarkson, Conley, Beasley, Kessler. I think you can go to any one of those guys. I don't really see Kelly Olynyk as all that viable. If he only played 15 on Saturday, I just don't think there's going to be enough minutes there. But Markkanen at 8,400. Let's remember, this guy was like 90-something, 9,500 or something like a week and a half ago. Now he's at a price tag where you could actually play him again on DraftKings. He looks like the best Jazz guy. I don't mind Clarkson, Beasley, Kessler. I think all of that is very viable. I actually do kind of feel like I should be knocking Beasley down a minute or two, but maybe not. All told, no true priorities coming from Utah. The Raptors, the Raptors are the Raptors. It's the starting five. It's Precious Achiuwa as the best play. And then it's you reach your hand in and you stir it around and you pull out one of Van Vliet, Siakam, Trent, and Barnes, and you just move forward. There's no way to really differentiate those guys in my eyes. But Achiuwa is the best option. We know what we need to deal with at center, though. We close it out with the Atlanta Hawks, 1.5-point dogs in Phoenix, 228 total. Trae Young is probable for this one, so I need to redo this rotation quickly. We'll take Aaron Holiday out. We move DeJounte Murray and his 37 minutes there. We got Trae Young in for 35 here. We got 27-21 split for Capella and Okongwu. That works for me. I got John Collins in for 33 minutes. I think that's fine. Jalen Johnson didn't play at all with Trae Young out. Maybe he's out of the rotation then. So let's pull that. We'll say that Hunter maintains his 34 minutes. I'm going to say that Aaron Holiday maybe in as the backup 3 again. We get Bogdanovich back down to 30. That gives me 10 for AJ Griffin. Do something more like that. Not that it's going to matter all that much. I do got to grab new rates, obviously. Spoiler alert, Trae Young affects things. But we know the Atlanta rates now. They're so easy to project. In games where DeJounte Murray, John Collins, Trae Young, and DeAndre Hunter all start alongside of each other, we don't have to care who the center is. It's a massive sample. Truly massive sample here. JJ, when you see a large price difference on one player between FanDuel and DraftKings, what does that usually indicate? Absolutely nothing. Doesn't matter at all. Other than it indicates that one of those sites probably got it wrong. It has no bearing on anything you should be doing. Now, if you play across both sites, like it's just going to naturally diversify you, but it doesn't affect anything. All right, let's get these usage rates. Yeah, like when those four guys start alongside each other, they've had really good health. I mean, these guys have played over 1,000 minutes together in games they've started. Bogdanovich, though, 367. He's at about 19% usage. Capella is at 15.5. DeAndre Hunter in 1,100 minutes is just over 19. DeJounte Murray at 24.8. John Collins, in an incredible fashion, is at 16.7. It's so weird. And then Trae Young is at about 33. From an assist rate perspective, we get Bogdanovich being his normal self, not even looking at Capella. Hunter, same. Murray is at 8. Bring that down a bit. John Collins, nothing. Trae Young, tons of it. And then finally, rebounding rates. All of these things are going to be flat because my whole model is all about like regressed rates. And if they're not making changes to their lineup, then whatever they do is just sort of already in here. I could reduce Bogdanovich slightly. DeAndre Hunter's at 5.5. DeJounte Murray's at 6. Yeah, like none of these things are going to change. Slight bump to John Collins if I want to believe in it a little bit more. That's going to be your Atlanta team. Phoenix, I hope we don't have any like giant Q tags for some of these guys because they have a bunch of guys. Yeah, all right. Still no Shamet, still no Booker, still no Payne, Josh Okogie, which means we know exactly how to project Phoenix. Same way we've been projecting them. I got 34 minutes in for Chris Paul. Saban Lee's second 10-day expired. So I'm assuming he's not going to be with the team now. Yeah, he's done. So Saban Lee goes away. I assume we get like Damian Lee as the backup point guard. $37 for Bridges, 31 for Ayton, Biyombo as the backup. Did they split him and Landale? Why did they do it? Yeah, so we did do that split. Phoenix played on Monday. Landale got a little bit of time in the second quarter, and then they didn't go to Biyombo in the second half in a competitive matchup, no less. At that point in time, now I do want to split these guys. So I'll go 10 to Biyombo, 7 to Landale. I'll make sure none of those guys show up. Cam Johnson in for 31. I'm going to take him down to 30. We got Saric in for 15. I think that maintains. Torrey Craig for 27, I think is fine. Josh Okogie, not great. Ish Wainwright played 20 minutes. Why the hell? And he was the first guy off the bench. Obviously. Why wouldn't he be? So I guess I'm going to get Ish Wainwright in for 17 minutes. Jacob, no, I'm not on the strategy show today. Rates don't change for Phoenix. Like the starters. Again, look, like they look no different than Toronto. They look no different than Utah, Sacramento. I mean, so many of these teams are priced like spot on for today. Paul is your best option. I think Ayton's fine. I like the upside of Cam Johnson if you think that he can get to like legit starter minutes. And then for Atlanta, not all that interesting. I prefer DeJounte Murray to anybody that's here just because of the minutes and the price. Clearly don't care about, like, have no problem getting to Trae Young. The point guard spot at 8,500 and higher is absolutely loaded. Murray, Young, Morant, Lillard, SGA, Dame, Kyrie. That's 7 that I can think of that are all just like, how do you sift through that? So we are done here. Let us go ahead and run some crunches. Seems like the perfect opportunity to do so. With 207 people in here, 89 likes. Can we get it up over 100? It is about that time. Cross that 100 mark. I'll shut up about it. What better way to start off February with 100 likes? Now, we'll start it off on FanDuel. FanDuel Optimals. What do we have here? You know what? Maybe we won't start it off on FanDuel because we got to talk about the sponsor of this show. That is BetMGM. If you would like to get 1 free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum, I told you this deal was changing, and up to $1,000 in first bet insurance, all you have to do is click the link in the description, scan the QR code if you want. We got the promo code Platinum Sub which you can check out on the screen. You got to be 21 or over. You got to be responsible. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. My recommendation, if you were interested in checking out Stokastic, a month of Stokastic would have been a little over $100. I don't know how little over it off the top of my head. Take that money, deposit that into BetMGM, and then put that down on a slight underdog for your first bet. If the bet wins, then you just move forward. You've got yourself a little bit of a bankroll on one side and a free month at Stokastic. And then if it loses, you just get it back in bonus bets from BetMGM. That is the first bet insurance up to $1,000. Link is in the description, folks. Alrighty, first crunch. First crunch. Don't have a great, it's just going to be a mixed bag of guards. I think Shea is going to be the guy that separates, but I don't know for sure. We're about to find out. Optimal lineups. 322.23. This is the optimal lineup by 0.51. Alec Burks, Monty Morris, Kyrie, Malcolm Brogdon, Harrison Barnes, Eric Gordon, Domantas Sabonis, Robert Williams, Alperen Şengün. I like the Sabonis, Williams, Şengün trio. Obviously, Eric Gordon looks good. Take your pick on Kyrie or one of the other pay-up options. I don't mind the flip-flopped point guard value battle between Burks and Morris. No problem with me here for this one. Oh. What do we swap out to go to the second one? Monty Morris and Sabonis for Jaylen Brown and Trey Jones. Yeah. So that's a good lineup. I'm expecting this to look really flat because we didn't really see anybody as like an overwhelmingly good value. Yeah. Yeah, this makes sense to me. Not a lot separating these top guys. They're not going to be fun to talk about, but we don't have that like ultra paydown option right now. All right, we're almost there. Please don't be Trey Jones. That's so less appealing. Okay, good. Eric Gordon in the number 1 spot. Trey Jones, number 2. And remember, Trey Jones is in a 240-plus point game today against Sacramento. Like, don't be surprised to see that. If that game is competitive, you're getting like 30 minutes out of him at 5,800. Is this price down? Yeah, see, think about this. He's the starting point guard of the Spurs. We know how much he's going to play. 3 weeks ago, he was 60, or 2 weeks ago, he was 6,800. This is the first time that he's been under 6K since November 15th. And now, after a couple like so-so performances, you get him at 5,800 in a great matchup against Sacramento. So it makes sense to me that he's there. Gordon, Trey Jones, Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, Alec Burks. Then you get Trent, Edwards, Simons, Barnes, and Collins, rounding it all out. But just to look at it here, if we look at the pay-up guards, pay-up point guards, I'll add shooting guard. I mean, look at this. 10%, 15, 6, 10, 7. But there's no real separation. I like Kyrie. Certainly like the Boston narrative there. SGA probably like slightly too expensive, but incredible matchup. Curry, Dame, Trey, and this says nothing for going down even further and getting to, look at this range. Paul, 12, Brown, 11, Fox, 10, Murray, 10, Van Vliet, 10. This is so incredibly flat, folks. Good luck sifting through this. Very, very, very difficult. Now we go to DraftKings, which I think is just going to be even flatter. Let's pull the DraftKings rates. All right, for DraftKings, optimal lineups. 284.83. This is the optimal lineup by 3. This would be a good example for that question from earlier. If one of these lineups had like wildly lower ownership, it'd be a great lineup to put into a 150 max in comparison to the other one that would be chalky. Trey Jones, Alec Burks, Harrison Barnes, Bojan Bogdanovic, Jakob Poeltl, SGA, Eric Gordon, Gobert. Nothing really surprising me there. The SGA price tag is just easier to get to on DraftKings. Most people won't want Poeltl, but again, a $5,500 starting center against the Kings is just going to be interesting. I think Barnes just makes it work. What you see here, look at this. 56, 51, 5K, 64, 55, 53, 68. Balance, SGA. You want to go balance through the works here and then pick a different version of SGA? That's also out there too. Just think about the different versions you can make of this lineup with just a 2v2 swap. All right, we're going to close that out then. Power rankings. Here we go. What do we got here? Yeah, my boy, the man who started COVID, Rudy Gobert, coming in at the number 1 spot on DraftKings. Trey Jones coming in at number 2. Jabari Smith 3. D'Angelo Russell 4. Eric Gordon 5. But look how flat this is. 16, then 14, 14, 14, 14, 13, 13, 13, 13, 12, 12, 12, 12. Like we are, you can move Jordan Poole all the way up to Russell, and I think it's basically the same play, especially if we end up losing Clay today. Gobert, Jones, Smith, Russell, Gordon, Burks, Barnes, Harrison, that is, Fred VanVleet, Anthony Edwards, and Time Lord Robert Williams. Once again, just for reference sake, as we look at those pay-up point guards, Irving, Lillard, Morant, Curry, SGA, Trae Young, James Harden, all 96 to 10-8, 7, 5, 8, 5, 9, 2 on Trae Young, 6 on Harden. Good luck picking between these guys. I see essentially no difference from anything that you could pay up for at 10K or higher for point guards. I just don't see it. I don't know how you could look, if you look at this and think one of these guys is the clear better option, you're making giant mistakes in your DFS thought process. You can like one of these guys, but you need to be very aware that there is essentially no separation of Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Ja Morant, Steph Curry, SGA. Those 5 guys can be rostered within $600 of each other and are, in my eyes, equal plays across the board. It is hard at point guard for today. But that's going to do it for us here, folks. Another process show in the books. Loved it. 210 people. We got 107 likes. You guys are fantastic. 107 likes. We hit the double up. That's all we're looking for. We're trying to hit the double ups. Keep your eyes peeled to my Twitter for updates later tonight. I'll have something out probably right after the deeper dive or potentially right before the deeper dive, one of the two. Hit me up with questions on Twitter if you have them for this slate. I'll have these videos out for contenders shortly. Should be up by 8:45. No strategy show for me, as I mentioned, so you'll only get me on the deeper dive. But thanks for being here, everybody. It's been a fun one. Shout out to chat. It's always good to have you guys here. It makes things very, very easy. Folks, we're back again tomorrow. It's Thursday, February 2nd, tomorrow. Today, Wednesday, February 1st. This was The Process.